Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Teenager Who Cooks. Today we're going to be making pesto pasta. Now, I know everybody loves pasta, and because I have some basil in my backyard, well not really in my backyard, but in this pot here you can see I have a huge big basil plant. So today I'm going to be making pesto sauce, and to go with the pesto sauce I'm going to be making some fresh pasta. So let's get started right away. I have here 2 cups of flour that I've made into this like volcano. Now this is all-purpose flour. Online, if you look online for a recipe, they'll tell you to use like semolina flour or special types of flour. But in my experience, just use all-purpose. It's easy and we all have it in our pantries, and it will still make a great pasta. So I'm gonna add in 3 eggs to the middle. And then with a fork, I'm just gonna start to kind of break up the eggs and whisk them in this flour volcano of sorts. And just keep mixing until more and more flour is incorporated into the egg. At one point, it will be very difficult to keep mixing with your fork, and at that point you can start going in with your fingers and your hands. While you are mixing your eggs into the flour, it is a good idea to just add a bit of olive oil, maybe a tablespoon or so, and just a slight pinch of salt. And we just keep mixing. Alright, now that it's looking like it's quite beginning to solidify, and just take some flour, rub off all the excess from your fork, and then cover all this with flour and just start mixing with your fingers. And don't worry if your dough seems really dry at first. It is supposed to be very dry. Just gonna have to use your muscles to knead it a little bit. So now that I've mixed it as much as possible, I've kneaded it, sorry, as much as possible, I'm just gonna take plastic wrap and wrap it all up. Very nice. And then I'm just gonna let it sit like this for about 30 minutes, just let it rest. It's time to prepare the pesto sauce. So I have my trusty little pot here, and I'm going to fill it up about halfway with water, just so I can cover up the basil and garlic. And then I need to bring this to a boil. Alright guys, so the water is at a boil. I'm just gonna change it to medium heat, and we're just gonna blanch these basil leaves for about 30 seconds. Pop them in. Pop. And I'll throw 2 small cloves of garlic in there with them. Press them all into the boiling water and just count to 30. Alright, I've brought my basil out using my handy dandy strainer along with the garlic. Now I just have a little bit of ice over here. I'm just going to throw the ice on top, and we just want this basil to be completely cooled. Alright, so I have my little clump of basil and garlic here. I've just put it in the middle of this like piece of cloth. We use this cloth generally for straining stuff like this. If you don't have a piece of cloth like this, you can just go ahead and take 4 or 5 paper towels and put them over each other. You get the same effect. So now I'm just gonna take this piece of cloth, wrap it up, and I'm just gonna twist this little package of basil and garlic. And essentially what I'm doing right now is I'm just straining out all of the water. You want to make sure that there's absolutely no water left. Alright, now that it's pretty much done, we can open it up and see our little ball of basil and garlic. Very, very nice. Alright, it's time for us to blend the pesto sauce. So here I have our ingredients. I have the garlic with the basil, I have olive oil, Parmesan cheese, and pine nuts. And I'll have the exact amounts in the description below. So we're just gonna add all 4 of these very carefully. And after we've done so, we'll add the cap on, the lid on. And we're just going to process this for about 30 seconds until it's all completely combined. So add in some salt and pepper halfway through. Boosting the flavor, and you don't have to add all the salt and pepper now because you can just add later when you're actually making the pasta. And so just the final few pulses and you're done. And it literally depends on personal preference. If you like it more chunky, like it's smoother. So I have this pesto sauce in this little container. Now we're gonna be making this tonight. And this much is probably enough for about 2 servings of just pasta. But if you don't want to make pasta with this, you can use it to dip bread. You can smear it on bread to make a nice little appetizer. Pesto sauce is super versatile. You can even put it on salads, put it on pizza, anything you want. So this stuff is really, really good and really tasty. So I'd suggest putting it in your fridge for later use or just eating it fresh. Alright, so I have my pasta here and my handy pasta roller, KitchenAid pasta roller. So I'm gonna split up my pasta into 3 sections, I think. Just so it's much easier to manage. In each section, I'm just going to knead them by itself. So if you have a pasta roller, you just want to flatten it out a little bit. If you're wanting to do this recipe by hand, remember to add 1 extra egg so it'll be much softer, and just use a rolling pin and get at it. So I'm going to start at speed 2 and just start. Alright, so once your noodle, your pasta is like smooth, like this, after sending it through the pasta roller a bunch, you can start moving it up. So mine is at 2 now, and I'm just gonna continue rolling until it's as thin as I want, which today is gonna be settings 4 or 5. Alright, I have this nice and beautiful sheet of pasta rolled out to a size 5. And so I have attached a spaghetti maker. I'm going to make it to speed 7 and just feed it through. Just like that, we have some absolutely amazing noodles spaghetti. Look at that beautiful spaghetti. This is gonna go amazing with our pesto sauce. Alright, we are ready to start making the pasta. So I boiled the fresh pasta we had earlier for about 2 to 3 minutes. Just constantly tasting it. And now it's ready. We put it in a strainer. And I put about 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil in the pan. Add in some garlic, have it sizzle a bit. I generally just like to do this until you can smell really strongly the nice flavor of the garlic. Have it brown a tiny bit. After the garlic is ready, we'll add in some shrimp. While the shrimps are cooking, you see them start to turn orange. We'll add in some nice mushrooms. Saute these with the shrimps and the garlic a little bit. Just while you're sauteing, it smells amazing. With all the flavors of the mushroom and the shrimp and the garlic. Very nice. At this point, if you want, you can add in a spoonful of the fresh pesto sauce you made earlier. Just saute that with the shrimp and the mushroom. I'm just going to add in some noodles now. And on top of that, just gonna add in some nice big spoonfuls of pesto sauce. With my handy dandy chopsticks, I'm just gonna mix this in. And don't forget to save some of your pasta water from earlier and pour it into the dish. So now our pasta is done. You can see I've just combined it because all the ingredients here have been cooked thoroughly. As long as I combine the sauce with the pasta, we are done. So I'm just going to plate it up now. I've plated up my pasta, garnished it with some fresh basil, some fresh cherry tomatoes. Just gonna sprinkle a little bit of Parmesan on it to add to that really nice creaminess. And add some salt and fresh grated black pepper. Now that, my friends, is an amazing dish. Let's try it out now. Okay, it's time to try the pesto spaghetti pasta. Oh, look at those nice noodles. Oh my goodness. Now this dish is absolutely amazing. And it's honestly not that difficult. You just need the right ingredients and some right tools. And you end up with an amazing dinner meal. This meal is sure to satisfy all your family and friends. So be sure to try this at home. And if you enjoyed this recipe, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video.